Hello, crypto minions. We have some news today. It could be both good and bad news, but I lean towards a little bit more negative because of the price action. It's on optimism. There was a drop today, and yes, you were seeing that right. We are down 63 freaking percent to $1.69. And the reason is they were too optimistic on optimism. The Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solution couldn't actually scale to handle demand. Womp womp. Unfortunately, it was like optimism is supposed to make Ethereum much more efficient and gas friendly, but it was overwhelmed, which means it could not meet demand. And they said scaling is hard, which it is, but you are a scaling solution, and if you can't scale, well, then you don't really have much of a purpose at all. Wow, what a day. OP drop number one had a turbulent launch, which finally stabilized after more than 5 hours of nonstop work. It basically got owned by the demand, and they had to work for 5 hours to really get it running again. This is from Cointelegraph, but this has been reported across many news outlets. Basically, it had an all-time high demand. Of course, this is the exact thing that optimism is actually built to solve, but it's not ready yet. Much like Ethereum's many delays, this is not quite ready yet to handle this thing. Users racing to collect their tokens were greeted with failed or delayed transactions as Optimism team raced in the background to add additional capacity to the network. This sounds very, very much like Ethereum. Failed or rejected transactions or very, very slow transactions. But this is even more serious because it is a layer 2 which is supposed to solve these problems, and it can handle its own launch. As previously reported in April, Optimism is airdropping the new OP governance token over multiple phases. And hopefully not everyone rushes to sell. But since the market crashed, it does look like people are looking to sell because we started at $4.5 and now we dipped all the way down to 183 cents and now we're back at 1.69. So obviously the failed launch did actually have pretty bad consequences, but it has actually started to recover. So optimism is sort of recovering, but at the same time, there is going to be supply and demand issues. They had to add capacity to the network, and the scaling solution was not ready to scale at its own launch, which could actually signal a red flag if this is what it's actually built to do. Now, the governance token, how much it's going to be worth, I'm not really sure. I think it will probably rise from here, but there's no telling what other kind of trouble it'll actually have in the way if there's a sudden surge in demand. But I'm generally optimistic for Ethereum scaling solutions, but maybe we were too optimistic for Optimism. I think I still prefer Polygon, even though I consider that more of a layer 1 than Optimism, and maybe even Immutable X. But people have been talking about Optimism for a very long time. It might be a decent idea to pick some up right now because if you look at it right now, it kind of did hit a bottom about halfway through and it's now slow to recovering. But the recovery is not a V shape. It is very, very gradual. So you might want to think about it twice. I think it's okay to pick up some right now. I do think the big drop is kind of over and it's slowly to recover, but it looks like it might even out around $2. So I don't know how much gain there is in it. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.